Type Podcast Studios.
Welcome to the FFS podcast by Fortuna Female Society. I'm your host, Laura Bevan, and today I've got two of our trustees while we learn why the FFS. So first of all, Louise, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're involved with FFS?
Sure, it's Louise Nulty. I've been involved with FFS since its first inception when we started dabbling with Women Shall Overcome way back when at the studio, because I was the manager of the studio at the time. And I also managed to work with you, Laura, on our first Great Get-Togethers. Yeah. Which we kind of bonded over, really, I suppose, and created two events one year and then merged the years after, and sort of FFS kind of came out of all that mix-up, didn't it?
Yeah, so, it certainly did. We ended up, we can't uncross our paths
now.
I'm afraid you're stuck with me forever.
Cross the streams.
So, Sal, you're a bit more of a recent trustee with FFS and been a bit more recently involved. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you wanted to be involved with FFS?
Thank you very much. Yeah, so my Sunday name is Sarah, but people call me Sal Johnson-Griffiths, and how did I get into FFS? Probably because I fell in with you through the school gate, and we mixed, didn't we, doing various things. And one of the things we do is outdoor swimming. Yeah. I think through that and getting to know lots of other women, I think you kind of fall into a pattern of understanding why having women around is really good. And it kind of clicked a lot of switches for me about things that we've all struggled with and things that are difficult. And actually that bonding and camaraderie of being a woman kind of made me go, actually, I want to do more about this. So yeah, sorry, I'm tailing around now, and you're stuck with me.
Yep, stuck with it. No, it's great to have you on board. It's been an absolutely fantastic year for us this year. So I think you alluded to we've been going since 2018, but formally became a charitable organisation just this year, which has been hugely exciting. And we've grown and grown really in all that time. So I suppose for me, I wonder if you could chat a little bit about why you think organisations like Fortuna Female Society are so important still right now.
Yeah, I think it helps the individual to sort of clarify what they think, like you saying, Sal, about doing something yourself and getting involved. So we're all probably thinking similar things as women. Maybe we're kind of seeing the same, or we're having the same experiences, or we're seeing the same sort of issues. And we might comment on them with close friends, and we might be dealing with them at the school gates or whatever like that. But it's necessary to have organisations like this so that you can actually, dig a bit deeper and just take that time to think about, well, if you're having that thought and I'm having that thought, and they are, and they are, and they are, and they are, and therefore the world over, why are we just putting up with it? Why should we not come together, if only to clarify how we feel and maybe educate each other about some of the kind of things that we've got wrong, or things that we're doing ourselves that might be adding to that kind of world of misogyny. That there's. It feels like there just needs to be a place where you can go, this is safe for one thing, but it's also a place where we can kind of question things as well and go, hang on, can we just shine a spotlight on that, because I'm not sure. I mean, for me personally, I've lots of people have said to me, oh, do you think you've been held back by being a woman? You know, and I always kind of go, no, I've never thought about that really, because I would say I've been held back by being working class more than being a woman. However, as soon as someone asks you that question, you go, well, hang on, do you think I've been held back because I'm a woman? Yeah. So maybe, you know, it just having these moments to think and talk about these things in a safe place with people who experience similar things, why would that not be necessary?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly sort of where my head's been at as well, because, you know, I'm a woman of a certain age and there's quite a few years behind me. And I think, you know, born in the 70s, growing up in the 80s, women had a sort of, you know, became more powerful during that time, I think, if you think of, you know, shoulder pads and everything. But we kind of, as we grow up, we have our own little pocket of people around us, and they're the ones that you talk to. So you might talk to your friends and experience similar things, mightn't you, about experiences you've had, or, you know, things that have happened to you. But is it just you? Is it just your little pocket? But actually linking with other groups and knowing that actually other people are feeling the same thing. This is not just an us thing. This is not just a me thing. And actually finding the answers somewhere else has been the key for me. Because there's been tons of stuff that have happened in the past that you just, like you've just said, you just ignore them, or you know, is it a thing?
This is what happens.
And sometimes you've got to look back and go, actually, no. that was a thing.
Yeah.
I think you're completely right. I think there's something about having that communal space. It's something I'm always talk about. I mean, our tagline is that we provide safe spaces for women to thrive, rise and shine. And, you know, I think that's so important really to be able to provide those safe spaces, because as you say, what I find incredible about so many of the activities we do, and I often think the art class is probably one of them, when women come together and start to talk, the amount of things that comes out from that, and then that emboldens other people to share and becomes a really important place for people, I think.
Yeah.
And it's challenging, isn't it, though, those preconceptions about what women who come together do, say, talk about, act like. And we're just people at the end of the day. And we have, you know, a massive array of subjects that we want to cover. We don't all come together and talk about the same things. We're not the same. I don't go wild swimming. These birds try and make me all. That's not happening. So
one day
it'll happen.
But we're different, aren't we? And we're allowed to be different. You know, that's really important, and recognising that. But also recognising when people need to kind of find those similarities and go, oh, you like doing that. Well, I like doing that. Well, let's do it here. So, what about you? You know, why do you kind of think it's important to have FFS, Laura?
Oh well. You know, it's my heart, isn't it? FFS. I think exactly some of the things you touched on. You know, I had a conversation earlier this week around how it all kind of started, and I think it's interesting that point you made about people saying, do you think being a woman held you back? So I was never actually outright asked that, but, you know, I quite openly talk about my journey and the experiences I'd had in work. And it was me speaking up about that then I think other women kind of gravitated towards me because they perhaps hadn't.
Yeah.
So again, it's that shared experience, and we would talk about things. And that was a light bulb moment for me that I realised actually there are a number of reasons why we are held back as women, and there are a number of reasons why we need to learn to lift each other up and work really hard to do that. And that's kind of been my driving force ever since. And you know, I think that's why, for me personally, things like the Reclaim the Night Walk are so important, and has, you know, been a massive part of who we are as an identity. And it's amazed me really, because if you think of some of the activities that we do, and we do so many. So we have the art class, we have the domestic abuse cafe, we have the supper club, we have sewing, that we have so many different things, and they appeal to so many different people. We get some crossovers, and that's great. But we get some ladies who just come to supper club, some ladies who just like to do the art. However, Reclaim the Night, I thought would be, again, just a certain perhaps section of people, and it manages to unite the entire sort of force of FFS, really, doesn't it, when we do those walks? Yeah,
it amazes me how many people just can say, well, I don't feel safe going out in this beautiful park that we do it in. You know, we've done it other places, obviously, but predominantly we've done it in Victoria Park, haven't we, in Widnes? But, you know, they just if nothing else, just a chance to come and walk in the dark together, like even without any other protest. It's protest itself. It's enough. And I think for me, that's one of the most important things that we do. And I really kind of, that's always a real sort of marker in the year for me. I really think that's really important to have that visible, not hidden yet, slightly not safe element. There's always a bit where we have to, we have to risk assess it. We have to do a plan. We have to do an event kind of management situation. So, we're aware as the kind of stewards of that event, we got to be, something could happen here. And every year when we do it, there's always been something in the news, some other horrendous thing that a woman's gone through, and we have to be really, really vigilant. But every year I kind of think, no, we nearly need to do it. You kind of think, oh, we probably don't. Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
I think the Reclaim the Night is one of the really good examples of getting everyone involved, but all ages.
Yeah.
Because there are a good number of young girls, young kids that are going, and I think, but you can see them. You can see all ages in the group, in the crowd, and they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
And you've got young girls talking to women, much older women that they don't know.
I
Which
had
is just fabulous.
an amazing experience at this year's Reclaim the Night. So I was kind of running around, taking a few pictures, and I ended up at the back at one point. I wanted to get back to the front because if you remember, we had the police do
which
the
was
blue lights, which was
incredible,
amazing. They did it, but they kind of split off. And one of the young girls came up to me, and I had a T-shirt on because I'm partial to a slogan that said, speak up, but speak your mind even when your voice shakes.
Right.
And one of the girls said to me, what's that on your T-shirt for? What's it mean? And I was sort of explaining, well, it means that sometimes it can be frightening, but you've got to be brave and, always be true to yourself. And she went to a friend, that's you need to do more of that. And I thought, how lovely to be able to have that conversation and hopefully, inspire something in them and the encouragement between them as well, even at such a young age. So,
but isn't that exactly what we want?
Well, that's it. It's important, and you say about the intergenerational elements of it. Like a lot of work that I've done in my sort of creative world has been about intergenerational work. So I think that's really important, for society. We should not. What we've kind of done is gone, well, you're this at this stage in your life and you're this, so we'll keep you separate and we'll keep you happy. But actually society thrives on mixing and being together and learning from each other. So, FFS events allow that to happen, but more so in that Reclaim the Night kind of moment, because we're being visible, aren't we?
Yes.
It's that being visible, being our age, speaking our minds, and and walking and being together. And actually, it's really happy. It's a really jolly, nice.
So positive,
we do sort of touch on horrendous things, but in the walk itself, it's the empowerment of that. And I think it's so important for younger girls and also young men, because I remember like the very first, I think it was the very first one, wasn't it, where we were accompanied by sort of, 10-year-old boys on bikes who kind of became very protective actually, and were like, no, we'll go in the front of you, and and that was the thing. We went, no, come with us then, be part of it. And because we included them, they went with us rather than against us. And I think that's a really important message as well, of saying this is not us and you can't come into this space. This is actually a public space. And we're saying we need to feel comfortable here and we need to be able to use this space. And if you need to think about your behaviour, then so be it. But come together for this one occasion to just give a bit of thought to it.
But isn't that the very crux of everything, though? Well, because women's issues are not just to be solved by women, are they?
No.
We're just half of the population.
Yeah.
And if the other half don't come along and see us as that, then what we're doing. So we've got to bring everyone in, haven't we?
So I suppose flipping the positive, and there is a lot of positive, thinking about some of the challenges that we still face holding spaces like we do for women. How do you think we overcome some of those? I mean, a key example is how one of the things I've really struggled with is that I often get challenged about, because I predominantly work supporting women, I've actually been asked outright recently, why do you hate men? I was like, well, that's not the case. And I think the key to it, like you say, and it's interesting because we've just had that Vogue strategy release this week as well. It sort of, touches on how we have conversations with younger people, but it is about how do we encourage that conversation, I guess, between boys and girls or men and women. How do we get them in without them feeling like we're having a go. I think that's one of the biggest challenges I've had throughout this journey.
It's big, isn't it? It's a big, because it's bigger than, you know, a women's issue or whatever. It's big. It's a societal issue. But I think it is about being seen and being able to experience something together, so that actually it, you know, whether we're talking about men or whether we're talking about women who don't support other women or whoever we're talking about, it's about those people going, do you know what? Your life is better if I'm happy. Your life is better if you let me be who I am. I do not want to put you down. I do not want to ruin your life. I just want to have mine. And if you enable that, it's like anybody. If you're with anybody who does not want to see you thrive and be the best version of you, then they are not a person that you should be with. They, for whatever reason, whatever their background, whatever horrendous thing they've been through, they cannot put that on you. And I just think if you're half of the community and you want the other half to be suppressed and controlled because, oh, what about you might feel so... No, you're that's not going to be... You know, men and women have great friendships, great relationships. People are missing out on that side of things, you know. We don't gang together. We find like-mindedness in every walk of life, and that should not be restricted to gender, you know.
Well, I was going to say the human race can't function without both men and women, you know, biological fact.
Yeah.
So
with public health background, you would
bring absolutely bring it all back down to the science.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got to be, haven't we? And we've got to be all together. But exactly what you say, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about gender or income or housing or whatever you're talking about. If you want to be better than someone else, then we've kind of got something a bit wrong, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because who doesn't just want to be happy and make other people happy and just live life nicely?
Yeah, and a lot of that, you know, all those issues, you know, we can boil down to fear a lot of the time, or, you know, people being perceived in a certain way. You know, there's the whole kind of debate about the term toxic masculinity and the fact that actually that's not a helpful term because you're putting those two words together, even though it's not talking about masculinity or on a whole, it's talking about an element of it. But we're separating. We're always compartmentalising
always
things and
pitting against, isn't it? Whatever it is, I always say this in a lot of the work I do in the community. It almost feels like there has to be some form of pitting against each other, whether it's men against women, whether it's, you know, different communities, whatever it is. It seems that, and I don't really know who's getting the benefit of that, because in some ways it's causing more work for everyone.
And can I go, where did that start? I mean, it's centuries old, really, isn't it? And, you know, you just kind of think, if you have to look around you and go, I'm only having a good life if I'm on top, then, you know, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And actually, you know, you're not going to be well from a public health point of view. You know, but if you look around you and go, the people who are around me feel good and are happy and are supported. All right, we can't be happy all the time, obviously, but you know, if you're feeling fulfilled and they're seen and all that kind of thing and heard, then surely that means that you are. So if you surround yourself with that, then you're that. Yeah. So why do you want to be above that? Yeah. What is above that? It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's just sort of creating your own kind of version of what your life is, isn't it? By making this kind of space for yourself.
Heading towards perpetual disappointment in yourself. And, you know, lots of part of that. Yeah.
So I'm going to just circle back to something that you were talking about with the toxic masculinity a little bit and throw something else in that might also be another big topic. But it, again, with in particular the Let Her Shine session that we have, which again is that intergenerational. We're bringing mums and the daughters together, or carers and the young women together. And I mean, it's just such a gorgeous space, and some of the conversations that come from that. But the work that we do in there, I think, really brings to the forefront for me the issue with toxic masculinity, the manosphere, social media, that whole Andrew Tate thing. I mean, do you think that has gone too far now? Is that too big an issue for us to tackle? Or
I think it is a big issue and it's not too big to tackle. But I think we just have to be careful with the narrative, because when we're talking about toxic masculinity, it's as if we're saying masculinity is bad.
Yeah.
And it isn't.
On the whole, yeah.
You know,
It's just a
men
thing.
are masculine. They have masculinity. Women are feminine. They have femininity. It's not one thing's better than the other, not one thing's more powerful than the other. It's not one thing has to master another or not. It's just who we are by our sort of genetic makeup. But when people use that as a force to bring someone else down, to have control or power, or to assume that makes them better or not, then that's where it's wrong. And I think my whole thing with the safe space, just not to divert things a bit, is that I'm really passionate about creating safe space for women, because we don't have small spaces anymore, because we're open, aren't we? We've got the internet, we've got everything. Nothing is a safe space anymore. And so because of that, we need to create safe environments where we can talk to each other about what's happening, because all we're getting is bombarded by badness from all around, opportunities for badness. And I think that's what, Andrew Tate has his voice because he's got a presence online, and because you can share that presence. And it's exactly that, the platform. And we can't challenge that as a little FFS group. We can't do that. But actually, if we can empower individuals to think differently, then we can.
I think that challenging is exactly right, and it's the message, but it's about living it and understanding it yourself. Like we've said it, many a speech at the Reclaim the Night about language and about, if you say to your son as a woman, stop crying like a girl, or don't run like a girl, or you're hit a ball like a girl, or a man, whoever is saying that, then what are you saying? It's kind of, this is seeping through, and we don't even know we're doing it. So you don't even, someone say, oh, well, that's not negative, I'm just pointing something out. But you're saying, stop doing something because it's like a girl.
As if that's bad.
That's a
So
negative,
that is a negative.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that just because that was the thing in the 70s and the 80s. There was a lot of things in the 70s that we don't want, thanks so much. No. And we've come through, and goodness knows how we've managed to. But, things like that you can do something about every single day. You can do something about, and it's about checking what you're saying. What am I saying here? Why am I saying this? And again, also to not kind of use toxic masculinity all the time and say that's what that is, that's what all of them are like. It's not about that. But because of this kind of echo chamber silo stuff that we're talking about with the internet, it's really important that we challenge it as human beings, because of AI as well and all that kind of thing, and we've been battling that for a while. But it isn't that we're out of touch as women when we say strangulation in sex is not a normal thing.
Yeah.
That is not just because I'm 52. It's not a thing.
But that has been normalised.
It's normalised.
It's
normalised by porn.
Yeah.
The ready access of that, and to hesitate over, should we let young people under the age of 16 have a phone and have the internet? No. You know what? No, we probably shouldn't. And if we care about them, then maybe, because it's that thing of, but we can't stop it, can we? Can't stop it. Yes, we can, because everything is made up.
Yeah,
So,
this is why I do think there are some tangibles,
Yes.
and it sort of veers into some other areas. But for me, stuff around that phone-free education, take it. Maybe we can't take phones off the younger generation completely, but we should certainly be limiting where and when they access it.
Yeah.
Because the stats
what
now
they can
saying what they're accessing even during school days with regards to the pornography and what impact that's having on relationships. And I just worry, unless we put some actual tangible steps in place to start saying we're drawing a line in this now. We can't completely take it away. It's part of our life. I often say I feel like we've sleptwalked. We've let a whole generation sleepwalk into this space where they've got access to all this damaging stuff. But there are some tangible things that we can say that is like we're drawing a line on this now, and we're saying it's not acceptable. So we're going to do this, and at least this will be a move in the right direction, and at least this will limit the access.
Well, that's
it's because it's just happened so quickly, isn't it? Because I remember first day at university, I'd never really seen a computer other than it was a ZX Spectrum that my dad had. It's not really a computer, is it? So I remember going to university for the first day and walking into the sort of IT lab and turning on, and someone said, now you can get on the internet. And I'm like, what's that?
You're showing our age
I
now,
know
if we
I
all
really am
remember that.
showing my age, but how we got from that in just a matter of years to having it everywhere and being so
reliant.
And it's that thing of remembering that how we've got there isn't because, human nature led us there. We wanted to do that. No, it's not. It's controlled by money-making operations that see an opportunity and go, this is what we can do with that.
My take on it is, we test everything, don't we? We don't allow things into human populations unless they're tested and we know what they're going to do. Think about all the vaccines, and let's talk about that another day. But all the health stuff, all the really good treatments that we can get. It takes 10, 15 years to even trial it and make sure it works and make sure it's not harmful and damaging to people. But how many changes in technology have we had in that amount of time that we don't know what it's doing to us? We don't know what it is. And I don't mean, messing with our brain waves. I mean, actually,
we don't know the outcome, do we?
No, absolutely.
Because it's been that rapid. There's been some testing for, how it goes out there, but there's been no
Not once
period of time
at the impact it has on communication within young people or anything like that. We just don't know. And
although there is some stuff starting to come through on that now, isn't there? Particularly around isolation. And again, this feeds into some of this.
But we've done it.
Yeah.
It's not before.
Yeah. No, it's not before. Yeah, it is afterwards. But again, for me, some key steps would be not allowing kids to have phones during the day. Yeah.
Well, because also, our kids, we want them to get to everybody's ambition is to grow old, isn't it? That's the greatest thing that you can do. So if as we approach, I say me, as I get older, and if I'm thinking, probably I shouldn't spend so much time on my phone, or wouldn't it be nice if we weren't attached to our phones? Then if that's what we're thinking, well, we need to find a way to make sure that we impart that to them and go, do you know what? In 40 years' time, you're not going to want to do this. So, how can we kind of do that weaning now so that it isn't, let's just all fall into the same pattern and go, I'm at that stage now. I wish I didn't have a phone.
I do feel like we've gone full circle though, because again, is that part of the reason why FFS is so important? Because how many times at art club or supper club, Let Her Shine, or any of the women or girls on the phone?
They're not.
That is part of the key, isn't it?
People are looking for experience now, aren't they?
And proper connection.
Yeah.
And it's
not saying you've spoken to someone because you sent them a text last week.
And it's fine because obviously we use WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff, and that's really great. And communication is really great. But that's not the part of it that's the problem, is it? That's not, texting your parents to say I'm on my way home from school. That's not the problem. No. The problem is what you're being fed. It's algorithm. It's all that
well, it's called attention economy. There's an actual economy now where they work on a basis to be able to sort of feed that through, because they want the attention of the young people, because they trade it. They trade in on it.
The algorithm stuff is so insidious though, isn't it? Because you start thinking that everyone's thinking the same as me, and I'm not wrong. Everything must be right because. It just reads off you, and that one thing you looked at or mentioned as an aside just becomes the thing you see all the time. And therefore it's normalised, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we're at with the manosphere and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we only seem to hear mostly about the negative impacts of that. So let's turn that on its head and
I think another thing that
FFS, get it out there.
What I sort of find difficult is how we've kind of become. Or we've not become enlightened, because every generation's enlightened. But we've got to a point where we go, yes, equality is standard, and we don't. It's not, but it should be. It should be like get given, shouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? And then we go, but make yourself look like this, because then you'll be better.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand that part of it. Yeah, makeup's lovely, and having some work done if you've got something about you that's bugged you forever and all that kind of thing. It was something that you used to talk about when you were a kid. You couldn't when I was young, it was never going to obtainable. You know, you just go, oh, I hate this part of me, but you just put up with it and you kind of enhanced your features to look like you. Now everybody just wants to look the same.
Exactly the same.
And I don't understand how we can get to the point of, I you know, I'm this is who I am, but actually I'm a carbon copy of this person next to me. I don't understand that.
I think it's because as women, we're constantly fed the myth that we can have it all, but whatever have it all is what we're being told we can have as it all.
That's what you should be wanting.
So it's like with that is we've been told now that we have got choice, and it's our choice if we want to grow old gracefully and have grey hair and everything else, or it's our choice if we want to spend hundreds and thousands of pounds on looking a certain way, and that's fine because that's your choice.
Yeah.
However, is it?
Yeah.
Is it really? If what we're being fed is that one thing is better than the other, if one thing is brave, and isn't she great, and isn't she brave because she's let herself be natural, but something else is held as the standard that everybody should be attaining to.
Yeah.
It's not choice really, is it?
No.
Yeah.
It's not choice. It's not choice that's being made by the individual. As you say, it's being suggested, isn't it? And kind of this should be your choice. But then the change in society to predominant individualism means that people also have their, no, I'm going to speak for myself and I'm going to do this. So we have like that, which is great. But then we go, no, I'm going to be that person and you can't tell me. So it's like, well, we can't even have a conversation then, can we, about this?
Yeah, I mean, that's another interesting point because it's come up quite a lot recently around how you disagree well. And, you know, I always cite my Maureen Common journey as being a really good starting point for me, that I do think that I try to think of how I can disagree well with people. However, you know, what you've just said about, you know, we get stuck in these echo chambers and things like that. People are getting so embedded in their beliefs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think there is a way to disagree well anymore.
No, it's really difficult, isn't it? Because people say, no, well, that's my opinion and that's it. That's what I'm going to, that's it. You can't change me. No,
that's valid.
So you're just like butting up against each other, aren't you? Instead of just going, oh, go on. Tell me what, go on. Even if it's like, go on.
Yeah.
It's better than no, you know. So I still think we should challenge. I still think we should be able to kind of give a different point of view, and maybe, you know, FFS can provide those spaces where people do say things and you go, well, actually that's not quite right, but let me tell you what I think. And, you know, so, and I feel that is that environment, you know.
I think we've navigated that quite well. We have had some challenges with you know, difference of opinion, and I think that's right, and I don't think that we ever shut that down and we ever discourage that, but we do constantly encourage being kind, you know, supporting one another as women, and, you know, listening well and things like that. So you know, I do feel quite proud of that for FFS, that we're able to encourage those spaces really.
And I think that's what we do really well, and you hear it all the time about, you know, women lifting themselves by lifting others, and that is absolutely the key, isn't it? Because it's going back, how many times have we kind of said it already in this chat about, if you're supporting someone else, it's not a bad thing. Why would you want to be better than? Then we're not all the same. We can't all do things as brilliantly as someone else. So recognise that and lift them. And they'll recognise the things in you. Yeah. So
and none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. Well, you're not far off it, Sal, I'll be honest. But, you know, we've all got our different strengths and weaknesses. We've all got different things to bring. And I always remember, because I think one of the things I touched upon when we first started out, one of the things I was most grateful for is I always felt you genuinely opened the door to let me through and let others through. And I think that's a really admirable quality and quite unusual. But there was a meme that I came across once, and it was around, you know, be the type of woman that will say other people's names in rooms they're not in. And I think it really stuck with me, that, and I think it's really important, isn't it, that we are able to, as a collective, and I think we do better, we do more.
No, absolutely.
When we do it together.
Yeah. And people would say it's a confidence thing, I suppose. But it's not necessarily, it's being comfortable with yourself and being able to go, do you know what, it's okay for me to support someone else. Okay to say someone else did something great. because you do feel good when you do that. That's why we do have awards nights and all that sort of stuff. You know, we've got the Queens, but other awards, you know, people like to point someone out and give them the moment, don't they? So why can't we do that in tiny ways every single day?
Yeah, absolutely every single day, because there is always glimmers of fantasticness around, and you've just got to recognise that.
And you know, if we're after, even
it.
if we're after a little buzz for ourselves, to say this person was absolutely brilliant, it's good. It feels
and
good.
I
It's
know that
healthy.
person.
Yeah.
This person did a brilliant thing for me, or with me, or you know, or for other people, or whatever it is. You know, whatever recognition, because that's another human being that has done something, that is capable of doing something great.
Yeah.
So that tells you you're capable of doing something great, and so are you, and you, and you, and you, and you. So it's, you know, it's reassurance of that human nature. People love that, those human nature stories.
And I suppose a call out for us then for the next Queens of Halton is if anybody else wants to feel as amazing as these guys and everybody else, then get your nominations in, because not only will you feel amazing for nominating, but the nominees, you know, will feel amazing as well.
I think it's worth us having just a little chat about the Queens of Halton.
Yeah.
Because how many have we had now? The last one was the
Fourth, I think,
the fourth annual. And they've grown and developed, and you know the first one was fairly small, wasn't it? And it was stupid.
Well, the first couple,
very first one we tagged onto a Women Shall Overcome. It kind of flew under the radar, and again, it was just, we were kind of dipping our toe a little bit, but we recognised there was a need to recognise some of the women locally who were doing great things, and then we moved it to its own standalone event at the studio, and it's took on a life of its own.
I think the Queen's name was 23. When did we call it that?
It was whenever the Jubilee was.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it 22? I can't remember. But anyway,
it was 23.
So that's when it became took on that title. But it seems to have stuck, and it, you know, feels like that's a really good kind of. It's not like Women's Awards, it's Queens of Halton. So, you know, it's kind of got a bit of a broader kind of feel, and it's also celebratory.
In our own domain, aren't we?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And again, going back to that, when we recognise something in someone and we should say it, you know, one of the things I was really keen on, and I think we've really kept to, is, so one of the awards is Ray of Light, and there's no strict criteria for that other than somebody who brightens your day. Because again, we can often, you know, not give credit for those little things that are being done every day.
Absolutely.
That can make such a massive difference. So,
and it's also just taking the time to think about, doing a nominating somebody. You know, lots of people will never ever kind of come across the opportunity to nominate someone, because, you know, often it's highly competitive. You've got to, you know, be a brilliant writer, and it's all about But this, we're asking people just to kind of go, just think a little, just have a little think, because this is an opportunity for you to point to a friend, a neighbour, a loved one, whatever, and not feel that you have to go through a massive process and big competitive kind of. Yes, there is competitive element, but, you know, I think it was really great bringing the Joe Cox Foundation in to be the sort of external panel, making the decisions, because, you know, we should be too close to it completely.
We knew everybody, it was so hard,
you know, and I think that's really, really important. But really, if nothing else, it just gives people, women, or people who want to nominate women, the opportunity just to stop and go, ooh, yeah, I could write a couple of lines about that.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people, if you haven't nominated anybody before and you feel a little bit nervous about it, just get in touch with FFS, because, you know, we want to encourage a broader reach. And for those of you that feel, oh, it's not for me, then it's absolutely for you, and you don't need, like, you know, a degree in English.
But it's where the proper equity comes in, doesn't it? Because you don't have to be a multimillionaire or the best screenwriter or the best actor or the best at whatever.
No.
You just have to be genuine and valued and nice.
Yeah, it's just about making women feel seen, isn't it? You know, I almost sometimes, and this is, you know, every single winning queen has been amazing, but I almost sometimes wish we didn't have to have a winner, because you know, everybody who's been nominated and everyone who takes the time to nominate are amazing. And, you know, I've learned so much about what's going on in this borough that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
and about so
I know,
many wonderful people.
I've never really been a fan of awards.
No,
But
you're
if anyone
believe it or
wanted
not.
to give
multi-award winner, aren't you, Louise?
But however, my shelf at home tells a different story. No, but you genuinely kind of used to think, oh no, it's a no awards. But actually, the focus that it gives people is really really important.
So I think just sort of wrapping up a little bit and thinking about all the things that we've talked about, what would be your key piece of advice to your younger self? Something I'm always interested in.
Don't wait till you're nearly 50 to not give a
FFS.
FFS. To me, it's the confidence, and I wish I had the confidence when I was younger to recognise the things that I was good at, and to accept the things that I wasn't good at. Doesn't mean you can't continue to work and try and improve stuff, but I just wish I had the confidence back then that I could do the things that I knew I was okay with, be okay with the stuff that isn't, and accept that not everybody will like you.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't like everyone.
No,
Most
exactly.
people, I'm a fair nice person.
That is a great thing that people always say that, don't they? As soon as you realise you can't be liked by everybody, or you can't win everybody over, you just kind of go, great. I don't have to try and do that.
Yeah.
So I think, similarly, you just kind of want to go back and go, do you know what? You're quite good at that. Or, do you know what? That's fine. You know what? It's pretty good. Because it's really hard to recognise things in yourself, isn't it? And even when you talk, I suppose the other thing is just listen when people tell you things. Believe them.
Yeah.
If they're saying you're good at that, believe them.
Yeah.
Because if they're wrong, so what? You're already on your way then. And I think there's that would be a big thing. I think I always knew I was somebody that had to play the long game. I don't know why I think this, but I always thought that I will only through experience be able to be convinced I can do something. I'm not someone who can go, I'm just going to say I can do it and then I can do it. I just can't do that. Can't do that. I can have a go and I can have a go at something and not be put off by it. But
You've got to have a go to figure out whether you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to genuinely think, I can say I'm this. I think I knew I was going to take the long route. So whether I would change that, I don't know, because it was kind of just something I sort of knew anyway. And I don't think I would want to be someone that just said, well, I can do this, so therefore, with no evidence. So, but I think the thing about not it's not waiting, is it, for what's the word? Not waiting for not giving permission, not waiting for permission.
Yeah.
It's kind of give yourself the permission and just go, take a moment to recognise what you've got. But that's youth, isn't it? That's hard.
I know.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
What about you?
very similar around the confidence, sort of be more, and just that, it'll be okay. I think, as you say, when we're younger, we get ourselves tied up in so many knots about what people think, how it looks, how we come across, probably, encourage us to make decisions that we wouldn't necessarily make. But definitely, I feel like sort of getting into my 40s and just embracing all the quirks and the little odd things that, I used to put myself down for has been, just opened up the world. I mean, I joke about it. I say the kids always call me cringe. They do. Maybe becoming a mum has been part of it, but I love being cringe these days.
Yeah.
And I'll just cringe it out all day long.
Well, because I used to really fear being embarrassed. I used to think, the pain of embarrassment is just awful. It's just the worst feeling in the world. And now it's like, just give me an opportunity to be embarrassed.
Yes.
And it is. Perhaps these things all along, and they're just buried within you.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone has a bit of a eureka moment, don't they, when they kind of realise that actually it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I think when I first started in the NHS, my moment of that was, it was my very first. I was giving a presentation at a national conference, and I was nervous as hell. One of those people, I'd go bright red if I had to speak in public. I cowered into everything. Used to have a fringe and hide behind my fringe, because why would anyone want to? And I was so nervous about giving this speech to this room full of professionals, scientists who know stuff more than me. And I got up, walked up the stage and fell over right at the top of the stage. And I got up and I was like, okay, well, what else what's the worst now?
Nothing else can happen. Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And so from that moment, I was like, well, what's the worst can happen? Well, I could fall over. Well, I've done that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You've just given me something else I would add. What I would say to my younger self is, everyone is just making it up. We say it all the time.
Say it all the time.
Like you said, you're looking out of that room.
Making
They
it
all know
up.
more than me. They probably don't.
They don't.
They probably really don't.
They don't.
They're all making it up.
We're all just winging it. aren't we?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we asked you why the FFS, and we hope we've really given you a flavour of what we're all about and have really enjoyed the episode. And we'll see you next time.